Good morning and a warm welcome to day 156 of our 365 days of Bible study. Today we are continuing the book of Ruth in our study of the ancient tales and dialogues and parables that humanized the law in the Old Testament. We're looking at Ruth, Jonah and Job, and at the moment we're just coming towards the end of the story of Ruth. This is Ruth and Boaz portrayed in the story as ancestors of the great King David. I'm reading now from Ruth chapter 4, verses 13 to 17. So, Boaz finally took Ruth home as his wife. Yahweh gave her the blessing of getting pregnant, and it was a boy. The other women said to Naomi, "Thank Yahweh. Today he has given you a grandson to look after you. We hope he will become well known in Israel. And what a daughter-in-law you have. She loves you and has done more for you than 7 sons. And now she's given you a grandson to put new life in you and look after you when you get old." Naomi gave the baby a cuddle, welcomed him into the family, and looked after him. After a suggestion by the neighbouring women, they called him Obed, and spread the word about the boy to everyone. Eventually, when Obed grew up, he was to be the father of Jesse, who was to be King David's father. There is no doubt from this little tale piece at the end of the book of Ruth that the writer's intention is to drive home the message that Gentile women could indeed make very good Jewish wives. The author set the story a long way back in Israel's history and made Ruth the direct ancestor of the famous and successful second king of Israel. She was King David's grandmother, no less. I believe these words are an integral part of the story and clearly state its purpose. According to Jewish custom, this baby, born of Ruth and Boaz, was legally to take the place of the firstborn son of Naomi's lost and departed son, Ruth's first husband, Chilion. He had died when they were refugees back in Moab, without fathering a child by Ruth. So there is a lot contained in the sentence, Naomi, the boy's grandmother, gave the baby a cuddle, welcomed him into the family, and looked after him. The implication is clearly that baby Obed would grow up to stand in for Ruth's first husband's son. And in return for Naomi taking a share in his nurture and upbringing, he would be expected to take care of Naomi in her old age. Ruth, the Moabite woman, was, to begin with, just a foreign immigrant. But by the end of the story, she has been woven into the very fabric of Jewish history. The point of the story is not at all to rewrite history, but just to make people stop and think twice before giving in to the racist rhetoric that was current at the time. Now, this was to become important for the later history of early Christianity, where there are stories about Jesus himself serving, for instance, a sympathetic Roman centurion by healing his servant. You can see that in Matthew chapter 8 or Luke chapter 7. And speaking words of deep wisdom to the Samaritan woman at the well, which you can read about in John chapter 4. Thus, in time, opening the doors for Gentiles to become Christians in large numbers. That's the message of Ruth. Now, tomorrow we begin to understand the message of the book of Jonah. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow, and we'll begin that then.